Hey guys, it's Sharon with the Trailer Park Homesteader. Welcome to the review of the Week 7 discussion over long-term food storage. In this discussion, we're going to be looking at 5 of the different methods for long-term food storage. And there will be a part 2 discussing home canning. The first method here is frozen foods. Most of you already freeze food at home. It's basically the same thing. You would just want to make sure that you keep your long-term food storage preps separate from your regular everyday foods. You can go ahead and prepare meal kits, either cooked or uncooked. Put them into separate bags, such as like vegetables and spices into one, and your roast into a second bag. I would put them in a grocery bag, date them, and label them appropriately. If you want to go ahead and pre-cook these, you can do that as well. That's going to save you time later on. So you can pull them out of the freezer and go ahead and just throw them into a pot and cook it all together. Another tip is to buy meat in bulk packages. I would look at your local store or wherever you normally buy meat. At the beginning of the month especially, that's when a lot of the meat sales go into effect. You can buy a larger amount, and when you break it down, it's a smaller pound for pound price. Also check your local butcher shop and find out how their prices and quality compares to where you normally shop. A lot of the times they have deals of their own, and you can buy meat kits and bundles that way as well. If you coupon, use those coupons. You can get vegetables for pennies, if not free. Make sure that anytime you're using the frozen method for food preps, you're keeping it separate than your everyday food items. That way you're not going through all of your food and you're going to be empty-handed when you need it. One thing probably the most important thing to keep in mind is don't let the frozen method be your only method, because if you lose power in a disaster, you're going to lose all those preps. So make sure you have backup plans. Now we're going to look at freeze-dried foods. Freeze-dried foods are a wonderful choice for long-term food storage because many of them last up to 30 years. You can freeze-dry your own foods, but it has to be done safely and properly to be successful. If you Google how to freeze-dry foods, you'll find many articles and videos to show you how to do it. Just be very careful doing that method yourself. If you don't want to take a chance on it not working properly or there being any type of an accident, you can purchase these online from many stores like Mountain House, Thrive, Honeyville, and Wise Foods. There are many, many more companies that offer these products. Those are some of the top well-known freeze-dried product companies. That's why they're listed in the article. Some of the items that you can buy that are freeze-dried are meats, vegetables, fruits, grains, and beverages. And many of the companies also offer huge assortment kits, anywhere from, $30, $40, $50 up to $3,000. Many of them also offer like a sample kit for $20 to $30. I would suggest buying a sample kit from a couple different sources, trying the product, test the product out to make sure that the quality is good and that the taste is good. One thing to keep in mind is when you're using freeze-dried products is that many of them are high in sodium. Make sure you read the labels and make the best choices for you and your family. The third method is dehydrated foods. You can actually do this right at home. It's super, super easy. I do it all the time here. And what it does is it just basically removes all the moisture out of a food and preserves the food. I did list a link for a Nesco FD37A. That is probably the cheapest dehydrator I found. And it was, I think, around $35 maybe. I have a Nesco, not that series, but I have one that works really well. But to keep in mind, the higher quality of the product that you purchase, the longer the product is actually going to last. So if you're new to it, I would start out with the Nesco FD37A and just give it a shot and see how you like it. And then if you're going to be doing it for quite a while after that, you might want to upgrade your dehydrator. You can also oven dry or oven dehydrate foods as well. So I listed a few links there in the article where you can find instructions to do that. One of the links is Recession Ready America, Live Strong, or Wiki How Dehydrating Meats was an article I found on how to actually dehydrate meats. You can also Google how to do it, and YouTube is an excellent resource for that. There's many videos that actually show you how to do that I thought were pretty cool. You can find out what the health benefits of dehydrated foods are at the Healing Journal link that I provided as well. And the illustration that is shown there in the article actually shows you how to build your own, and I found that at Mother Earth News. And it looks pretty easy to do, but I would just go ahead and honestly just buy a cheaper one and try it, but it's up to you. You can also create your own solar food dehydrator, which is a pretty cool idea. If you go to the link under the picture where it says solar dehydrator, they show you actual step-by-step process on how to do that. When you're storing any dehydrated food, make sure that you use either a Mylar bag or a mason jar. You will need oxygen absorbers, and I posted a link from our Amazon store where you can actually buy 60 Mylar bags and 60 oxygen absorbers for $15 for all of it. So I thought that was a good deal. You will also need a way to seal the bags if you're using Mylar. You can buy a bag sealer, or another tip that I just tell people is you can use a hair straightener. Just you have to kind of test it out and don't get it too hot. Obviously I'll melt the bag, but you can pretty much figure that out. It's pretty simple. You can also use dehydrated foods to make your own MREs, which is excellent, because MREs, if you looked into the price of them, they can get expensive. The fourth method we're talking about here is canned goods. You can stockpile tons and tons of canned goods. Many of these last a few years. Some of the processed meats and fish products, they will last, I would say, 5 to 6 years normally. Canned goods come in many sizes, from individual family size to those large number 10 cans. And there's a huge variety of canned products out there, like vegetables, fruits, meats, milks, beans, sausage, broths, and the list goes on and on and on. I would make sure that you keep a variety of canned good items on hand, and I would keep it also separate from your everyday item uses. That way, you don't go through this, and you have it in a designated place for your long-term food storage. Make sure you have a quality manual can opener. Most people now have like an electric can opener, and I can understand that, but make sure that you have quality manual can openers as well. You can also purchase military grade manual can openers. They're P38s and P51s. They're little hand can openers. They work really well. We have some here. You can get a 15-pack of them for around $3 if you click on the link in the article. There is a picture to show what they look like. If you're storing canned good items, make sure you always check the dates and rotate your canned good stock. Sometime you'll have to incorporate your canned goods into your everyday cooking just to use them up, but make sure you replenish if you do that. Dry goods is the last method we're going to talk about here. Make sure that you add plenty of dry goods because they provide an excellent source of fiber and proteins. The first key point is to make sure that you store it appropriately. If you choose to store rice or flour or wheat or whatever in plastic, make sure the container is a food grade plastic You can get them free at most restaurants, donut shops, and grocery stores. Because those places normally just throw them out, they don't recycle or reuse them. You can also use glass, but beware of your placement. If you get a lot of earthquakes where you live, if you're putting them on shelving, make sure you have a bungee strap on the front of the shelving or something on the front to reinforce it. That way they're not just falling off the shelf and busting. A little bit obvious, but good reminder. Some of the types of dry foods that are excellent for long-term storage include beans and rice varieties, wheats, oats, pastas, powdered milk, powdered eggs, powdered butter, sugar, flour, baking powders, cornstarch. Excuse me. If you're storing wheat, make sure that you also have a manual grain mill, because that wheat's going to do you absolutely no good if you have no way to mill it. Also, if you're storing in Mylar bags or in any type of container that you've had to open, like maybe a huge bag of rice or something, to divide it up, make sure you're placing in oxygen absorbers in those as well. On the bottom of the article, there's a video listed, and this is Tess Pennington. She's from excuse me, Nutrition Ready. And she breaks it down and shows you how to store different dry good products step by step, and explains why you need the oxygen absorbers and how you seal the products. So I hope you'll stick with us for part 2. It's going to be over canning your own food. And until next time, we'll see you later.